Welcome back to Time Out with J and G. It's Jay over here. It's G over there.
Yo, what is going on, everyone?
And today we are back with a special Thanksgiving episode. And to start, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to anybody listening and to you as well, Levi.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, either watching or listening.
That's right. And speaking of, if you're watching this on YouTube, go on like, comment, subscribe. And if you're on Spotify, go give us 5 stars. It helps us out. And what are your plans for Thanksgiving? You guys, what kind of food are you guys eating?
Pretty standard. Turkey, biscuits, mashed potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
stuffing or dressing, however
Mm-hmm.
you want to say that. Yeah, that's usually about it. Maybe like a pumpkin pie or like a
Okay.
banana cream pie,
Oh, that
something
sounds
like
really good.
that.
Are you a yams guy?
No, no, I'm not.
Oh, my stepmom makes these like candied yams with like the marshmallows on them. Holy, oh my, those are good.
Now, do you like the mac and cheese? And if so, do you like breadcrumbs over top?
Oh, you know it, you know it. Mac and cheese is. I love mac and cheese. Breadcrumbs on the top. Like usually, it's like we do turkey, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, yams, cranberry sauce. Then some type of pumpkin pie or something for dessert, and gravy and stuff like that. I love Thanksgiving. I love to eat food. I mean, who doesn't love to eat food? Honestly,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, food is good.
It is.
Food
Well,
is good.
I hope you guys are all having a very good Thanksgiving as you are watching this. As you're watching this, it'll be, I guess, the first NFL game will be on, and the second one, which is the Cowboys Giants, I believe they play at 4:30,
I think
four
so.
oh five, whatever it is. Anyway, you can watch this, or you can listen to this while you're watching the Cowboys beat up on the Giants. We're going to probably have Drew Lock playing quarterback, I guess, this week
Yep.
because DeVito's not traveling with the team right now. I don't know.
Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, right. Oh boy, but yeah, we hope you guys have a very good Thanksgiving. And because it is the holiday, we decided we don't want to take too long in this episode. We don't want it to be like your full hour and a half, 2 hours long, because yeah, it's a holiday. You guys want to spend time with your family, so it's gonna be kind of a shorter episode. We're just gonna talk about, we're gonna have Levi's college football report. We're just gonna talk about some things we're thankful for, whether it's sports related or not sports related, and then we're gonna get up out of here. So, are you ready?
Yep. Keep this short, sweet, and simple.
Well, then I will let you take the chains and run the college football report.
Alrighty. So I kind of predicted it, and
Mm-hmm.
if you guys need a refresher, go back to last week. I kind of said this past week of college football would be the week of the upsets,
Mm-hmm.
and boy was it. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of upsets. First off, I do want to get into the four games that I did mention. Uh, Kentucky at Texas. I was wrong on that one. Texas did win 31-14.
Woo-hoo.
Quinn Ewers,
I predicted it.
Quinn Ewers, I believe, did have to go get an MRI done on his ankle. I have not heard anything about that,
Mm-hmm. I'll
but
double
you know
check
how
while you talk.
people are. Yeah, I know there are people out there saying, if Quinn Ewers can't play, then Texas should default like FSU did and not make the playoffs altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But you go from an FSU backup quarterback that barely got you the last two wins to get you to 13-0 to the Texas backup, which is Arch Manning, who's played a good amount this season. I believe he's got, I think, 946 yards
Okay.
and I think like 10 touchdowns and maybe two picks, something along that lines.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sorry, but if you're giving me the option between, I think the last name was Glenn, but the FSU backup from last year or Arch Manning, I'm taking Arch Manning. But
Mm-hmm.
Texas did win. They do have to beat A&M this week coming up this Saturday to advance to the SEC championship. So if you are a college football head, tune into that Texas A&M game because the winner of that game moves on to the SEC championship game in Atlanta, Georgia, which they will be playing Georgia no matter what the outcome of that game is. On to the next game. We have BYU at Arizona State. Arizona State took the win and kind of just eliminated BYU from the at large bid.
Mm-hmm.
It probably would have been a contender for the Big 12. I believe the Big 12 is at a standstill with a tie between four teams, so that'll be fun to watch. But no, Arizona State's been playing really good. I do believe. Let me see if I can just pull it up real quick. The Big 12 standings right now. Your top four teams are Arizona State at 6-2 in the conference, BYU at 6-2, Iowa State at 6-2, and Colorado at 6-2.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have any combination of those four in there. All depends on who wins, who loses. You know, anything can happen this coming week of college football, which is going to pretty much set up for the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Arizona State. They could potentially make it as the last at-large bid. And speaking of that, you want to hear the most crazy thing, Paul?
Okay.
If something happens to, like, let's just say some of the top teams in that Big 12,
Mm-hmm.
guess who could potentially be the fifth conference champion?
Who was it going to be?
The Green Wave, baby, Tulane.
Tulane. Wow. Okay.
Tulane. Right now, as the rankings are, I just pull them back up real quick. I believe it's Arizona. Arizona State is at 16 right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's at 9-2. Tulane out of the American Conference is sitting at 17.
Okay.
So if
Wow.
Tulane wins out and something happens in that Big 12, Tulane could get in, and we could have a college football playoff with 2 Group of 5 champions and 3 uh, Power 4 champions. But yeah, no, it's getting a little crazy at that back end for that last conference championship spot when we all thought, it was going to be BYU. They lost to Kansas. And speaking of Kansas,
Mm-hmm.
they got the win against Colorado, and it wasn't
Yes.
just a one. It just wasn't just a one-score game. I believe they won it by 3 scores. It
Now,
was
can I just ask you one question about this game? It has nothing to
yes.
do with the outcome of the game. Kansas won the game. Um, it went very viral that Shedeur Sanders was taken out by his knees after he let go of a ball. What is your opinion on that play and the flag being picked up?
It should have been a flag.
Okay, I just
I,
went
I
to.
don't
Okay, go ahead.
I don't care if it's a team that I utterly hate. I don't care if it's a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback I utterly despise.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a play that shouldn't happen. That should have been an unsportsmanlike 15 yards,
Mm-hmm.
and arguably the kid should have been thrown out from Kansas. I will say that. I'm not going to say that it shouldn't have been a flag, but Shedeur Sanders and the Colorado fan base are all lucky that his feet were not firmly planted in the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah.
Because if they were, he's probably looking at double broken legs.
It
I'm gonna
was
be
just
honest.
it was just
It was
weird.
gonna be bad.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, once he gets outside the pocket, he's considered a runner," which is true. But the quarterbacks are still protected for hits to the head and hits below the leg, or like below, like at your knee area. Like the quarterbacks are still protected even if they're outside the pocket. I think a lot of people don't understand that it's they don't the quarterback. You can't just fully lay out the quarterback because they're outside the pocket like you can. I mean, even other players, you can't hit them in the head. You know what I mean? They have that. They all have that
Yeah,
same protection, but the quarterbacks also get the need lower protection. And I think a lot of people like you kind of say, like a lot of people hate Shedeur Sanders, hate Colorado, hate Deion Sanders. So they're gonna look past that because they don't care if Shedeur gets hurt, and they're gonna call you soft if he gets hurt and stuff like that. But yeah, it was like it really surprised me they picked up the flag because I just think like if you block out all the outside noise, any quarterback that got that hit on him, it was a like I said unsportsmanlike conduct because you just can't take out. I mean, I know a lot of people are arguing like he was already kind of diving at Shedeur through the ball, and that's fine. I think the entire issue is not when he threw the ball. Not it's that he dove and put his helmet on his knees. Like that's just not allowed.
no. If it would have been a normal diving tackle, like a nice form tackle, and
Mm-hmm.
it just happened like that. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a little late, this or that, but to just go directly for the legs,
Yeah, for the knees.
I
Yeah,
I don't buy that. I even hate watching in the NFL. We've seen a couple of good tight ends, great tight ends.
yeah.
T.J. Hawkinson was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They keep going for the knees, and he ended up tearing his ACL, missed, the back half or the end of last season, and missed a good part of this season. I
Or just
understand that,
most of Gronk's career was taken out by knee
yeah,
injuries. So
yeah, it's kind of sad to see, and I know that there's only so much you can do when you got to tackle one of them big guys.
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like when they're like, like 6'6",
Mm-hmm.
260 or 240, and you're a DB or a safety or something like that. There's only so much you can do, but we got to try and stay away from going for guys' knees.
Yeah, 100%.
That's just
I
that's one.
just wanted to kind of get your opinion because I figure it was such a big thing going on that I wanted to kind of put our opinions out there on it and just kind of talk about it.
Yeah, 100%. But also in that game, I do want to shout out to Devin Neal, the running
Mm-hmm.
back for Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
He's a senior. He carried the ball 37 times for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns, 5.6 yards per carry. Shout out to him. Like I said, that play unnecessary. but I don't want it to overshadow the kind of performance we've seen from Devin Neal. And also through the air, he had 4 catches for 80 yards. He had a stellar performance. Kansas, I seen a
Yeah,
stat. If they don't play the last 2 minutes of every game, they're 9-2 right now.
that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know this
Um,
Kansas team. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say Devin Neal's gonna make he's gonna be a very, very good second round, like second day pick, either second, third round in the NFL draft. I think he's gonna be a steal for any team that gets him.
Yeah, I mean, right now looking at his stats for this season so far, we obviously have still one more game to go, and if Kansas wins next week, they will become bowl eligible.
Hmm.
He's got 199 carries, 1,133 yards, and 15 touchdowns.
Hmm.
So props to him. He is a senior, so hopefully we see his name called in the draft to a team that needs a running back or a backup running back. Hopefully we get to see him perform at the next level.
If Dallas doesn't get Genty, whatever the hell, if we don't get him, I want it to be Devin Neal. Like, we need one of the two going to the next season.
Absolutely. Now on to a game that if I was a Penn State fan, I would have been watching and hoping for the outcome that happened because Ohio State beat Indiana
Hmm.
38-15. I'm just saying it now. If something were to happen and Ohio State loses this week coming up and Penn State wins,
Hmm.
Penn State's in the Big Ten championship.
We got to take care of our own business. We had a real scary against Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys do got to win,
Hmm.
but you hold the tiebreak over Indiana because you lost to less
Hmm.
to Ohio State. And Ohio State already has one loss to Oregon, so if they lose again in conference, I believe they're playing Michigan.
I believe you're right. Which Ohio State's got to be the favorite for that one, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. But no, it's just kind of crazy. After all this, Ohio State could lose to Michigan, and then we're looking at a Penn State Oregon Big Ten championship when everyone kind of predicted Oregon versus Ohio State rematch.
Yeah.
Um, and yes, Michigan is at Ohio State, and Ohio State is favored by 21 points.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was looking for while you were doing that. But sometimes I don't know exactly where to look for all those odds, so I was kind of trying to figure that out.
Yeah, nope. Ohio State's favored by 21 points. I know Michigan has had a rough season so far, but I know I've talked about it before. When I see them 20-point gaps, especially at kind of like this point in the season, or when a power four is going up against a power four, I don't
Hmm.
really buy it. I think this game's gonna be a little bit closer, but I think Ohio State does end up winning unless Michigan can pull out a shocker. I
I mean,
just
what's going on? What's going on with Donovan Edwards, man? He's is the cover curse a real thing for college football 25? Because he's
it
been
maybe
not good.
we think about it. Quinn Ewers has been dealing with injuries this year. Donovan Edwards hasn't been playing that good. The only person that hasn't been affected by it, knock on wood,
Yeah, for real.
is Travis Hunter. Like he's the only one that
He's in
hasn't
the
been
Heisman
affected.
talks. It's either one or the other. You're either up top or you're down below, man.
Also, I do have something I want to talk to you about real quick since we're on the topic of Travis Hunter.
Hmm.
They came out with the top 3 odds for per position, right?
Okay, okay,
He is up for the defensive player of the year. I forget what award it is. Okay,
okay,
he's up for the Blitnikoff best wide receiver, I believe. He's up for those
okay.
two.
Jesus,
Yeah. Guess what award he's not up for though? The best defensive back.
that's funny.
He's up for the defensive player of the year, but not the best defensive back of the year.
Is that? Do you think that's because he's in the best? Like, it. I don't know.
I think at this point it needs to just be an unbiased thing. You know what I mean? If you're the best, you're the best. Like if you're the best linebacker, then I think it's the Butkus Award. You know what I mean? You should win all the awards that you're worthy of winning, no
I get
matter,
you. I guess
popularity contest or not.
the only thing I was gonna say is maybe they're not. He's not in the running for that award because he's in the running for the deploy version. Like maybe they're like, okay, well he's in the running for that, so we're not gonna put it. Yeah, like you said, if he's one of the if he's in the award races for one of the best defenders in the league or in the country, then there's no way in hell he can't be one of the best defensive backs in the country because that's what he plays. Like that's
Yeah,
stupid.
Yeah, I believe that's how it goes. I know they announced the top three for each of them, and obviously the Heisman is this big award. We usually see, five of them,
But
and
then
then they
again,
go
you,
through.
you got to think like it kind of like how often is the MVP and the Offensive Player of the Year the same person? It like never is. You know what I mean? It's like for some reason it's like Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson's past couple years won some MVPs. He hasn't been up for Offensive Player of the Year. Like for some reason it's just like it's like, oh, if you're up for the big award, we're not going to put you on a list for the other. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying
Yeah,
it's right at all, but I'm just saying like if you look at it, I think it happens quite a bit.
but then my counterpoint is, if he's up for the Heisman, why is he up for the Bolitnikoff Best Wide Receiver?
Again, very fair point. I'm
Again,
just like I said, I'm just pointing out where I think it might be, but yeah, it counteracts itself anyway.
yeah, if he's worthy of winning the Heisman, the Bolitnikoff, the Best Defensive Back and Best Defensive Player, and he gets a four award sweep, more props to him.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna just point that out there. More props to him. He's a fantastic athlete. He's a great defensive back, and he's a great wide receiver. Something we've seen 2A players before,
Mm-hmm.
but we haven't seen it to this effect.
Do you think I I think he's like all around the best athlete prospect coming out in this draft class, right? Is that I don't think that's very controversial to say at all. But like I don't think
No,
that's going to translate to him going first.
no.
Because at the end of the day, he's gonna be either a wide receiver or a DB. I truly don't believe he's gonna play both. He might take some snaps, whichever one he chooses to play. Either if he's a full time wide receiver, I think he might take some snaps in defensive coverages, or if he's a full time DB, he might take some snaps in wide receiver. But like, I don't think he's gonna be a full time Ironman. That just doesn't really happen in the NFL. But it's like okay, well, somebody's not gonna take a defensive back first overall, no matter how good he is. You know what I mean? Same thing. Like a wide receiver is gonna be tough as well to take first overall. So it's just I'm curious to see like he's gonna be like the best player coming out of this draft, but he might fall out of the top five just because of like what position he plays.
That could be, but also like to your point about taking some snaps, I think if he chooses to be a wide receiver, I think back up corner snaps.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like something to where like if there's a package to where they need, like four DBs out there,
Yeah.
you could send them out there. Or if you need, or for like a Hail Mary defense, just
Mm-hmm.
send them out there. Something like that I feel like would be like a good package to have, and
Yeah.
then vice versa. If you're running, like a Hail Mary, throw them out there on
Mm-hmm.
offense. Or if you're running a four wide receiver set, throw them
Mm-hmm.
out there as, like the third or fourth wide receiver,
Yeah.
if you need them out there.
I just think the NFL coaches are gonna tell him to like okay, you're great at both, but pick one and get really, really good at it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think NFL coaches are gonna be on board with the idea of like I don't want to say jack of all trades, master of none, because he's really fucking good at both of them. You know what I mean? Like he's really good at both of them, but they're gonna be like, okay, you can either be like, you know, a Pro Bowler at or you can be all like all pro. You can be an all pro wide receiver. You can be an all pro defensive back. You choose one and like really work at it. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
that's and again, like you said, if there's a situation where like they're running deep Hail Mary coverages, they might put him out there because he's got good hands. You know what I mean? Or like yeah, if he ends up being a DB, he can be on the hands recovery teams and stuff like that. Like they're gonna get him out there on both sides and on special teams. I think once you get to the NFL, you're going to see predominantly one side of the football.
yeah, but I feel like that's also with more of a modern times thing. Because
True.
we've seen, some wide receivers transfer to being a DB in college, and they kind of ride that out, and vice versa. Um, but
What do you think he's going to be? What do you think he's if like let's say hypothetically he had to choose one to play in the NFL. The coaches are like okay, you're going to be a full time blank or blank. What do you think he's choosing?
to be honest, I think he's going to go defensive back.
Okay. I think it depends what team he goes to as well, depending on
Yeah,
like what the team needs and stuff like that.
but some of the stuff that he's doing on the defensive side of the ball. Now, obviously, me personally, I do have Ashton Genty winning the Heisman. I will
Mm-hmm.
just disclaimer that. But no, on the defensive side, just from him playing wide receiver, the ball tracking ability, and the knowledge of like, obviously you can scout, who you're going to be going against, but more understanding of how a route is ran
Mm-hmm.
and being able to do little things to get the wide receiver off the route,
Mm-hmm.
reading the quarterback, stuff like that. I feel like it is more prevalent with a guy like Travis Hunter because he does play on the offensive side of the ball and he can kind of see from both sides. So I feel like if he wants to hit his maximum potential, I think going corner would be his best option.
Okay. Cool.
Alrighty, now on to the next game. Just gonna talk about a little bit Army Navy.
Mm-hmm.
No, Army, Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Did not go how I wanted it to, how both of us wanted it to.
Yeah.
Wanted some chaos, but Notre Dame went out there, handled business. But I'm just gonna say this now: you can call me a Notre Dame hater. I don't care how good Notre Dame gets, who they beat. They still probably have the worst loss of a top 10 team.
Mm-hmm.
You lost to Northern Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
16-14.
Yep.
Just not going away, not going away at all. I can respect not Georgia, Georgia Tech beating Miami. That Miami losing to Georgia Tech. I respect that because Georgia Tech did come out, I believe, last week or the week before and beat somebody good. So I can respect it on that aspect
Mm-hmm.
because Georgia Tech I feel like is a little bit better than what people give them credit for. But at the same time, Northern Illinois, really, really,
Oh, I know.
um,
I know.
just looking at them being in just just looking at them being at number 5 in the country. But at this point, I don't think it's who you lose to, it's when you lose.
Yeah, that's
That's
also a big thing.
I feel like you could lose week 2 to Northern Illinois, you win out, you're in. But if you lose week, 14 or like second last week of the season to Northern Illinois or a team like that, bye bye playoffs because
Yeah.
you're out. I hate
It
how it's
is.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it is what it is. But no, surprisingly, SMU, who I've been projecting or I've wanted to win the ACC, it seems like they're going to get an at-large bid into
Okay.
this thing. So that's kind of cool. Indiana is still in it to win it. Still, I believe they're the 10 seed right now or 11 seed. So they're still in the bracket. So shout out to them, even though they did take that whooping from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Other games that kind of played a big part in the whole college football playoff bracket at the back end. Alabama losing, or I shouldn't say losing, but getting their ass whipped by Oklahoma. That game was
Mm-hmm.
not pretty if you're a Bama fan. It's been something this year for Alabama. They've had their ups, they've had their downs. But no, shout out to Oklahoma winning that game 24-3 by 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
That's just incredible. And disclaimer to everyone out there that's saying why is Bama still at I believe 13, 14? You got to look at everybody that lost. You can't have a team jump from 22 to 13. You know what I mean? So their drop off is not going to be as big as everyone thought they would be because of everyone else losing. Hate to
Yeah.
say that, but that's just a disclaimer for
Mm-hmm.
everyone out there. Even as a Tennessee fan, I wish I would have seen them dropped outside the top 15, but logically speaking, you can't drop them any lower if teams lose, below them. You know what I mean? You can only drop them so far.
Yeah.
Um, Another game that I stayed up for, Auburn upsets Texas A&M,
Yep.
43-41. I stayed up. That game went into 4 overtimes. It was
Ridiculous.
it was crazy, but I hate the overtime system. I really do. I understand not having a tie, but after the second overtime, like if you score a touchdown on the second overtime, you have to go for two,
Yeah.
and then every overtime past that is just cycling 2 point conversions. I hate it.
Yep.
I absolutely hate it. But shout out to Auburn. They kind of brought A&M down a peg. You know what I mean? Especially leading up to a game against Texas. This was technically their trap game. I believe I said last week if A&M beats Texas this week coming up, Tennessee would get into the SEC championship. I was wrong. I did some research. A&M, um, once you go through down the whole tiebreaker thing,
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to opponent winning percentage, and A&M beats Tennessee. They beat Texas. They would hold the tiebreaker over Texas. But
Okay.
basically the winner of the A&M Texas game is going to face Georgia in the SEC championship.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, shout out to either of them. Yeah, I think that's about it for the week review. Oh, wait, one last thing. I hate to say it. I hate to have rooted them last week. Florida, they did beat Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Lagway is now 4-0 this season as a starter for Florida. Shout out to him. Um, you know, I think
Yeah.
Billy Napier has flipped a couple of big time commits, and I feel like DJ Lagway and him have kind of saved his job at Florida because I know that a lot of people want him fired. So I believe he's going to be back for a couple more seasons, and he might be able to turn that program back around into being an SEC contender. But no notable games for Week 14, so we can get this kind of wrapped up quickly. Um, we have Clemson, South Carolina. That should be a good one. The winner of that kind of has a play in for the college football playoff, depending on who loses, who wins. It gets a little hairy at the back end of that. Let's see, another big one. We do have the Iron Bowl, Auburn at
Mm.
Alabama. Alabama is technically not out of this thing yet for the college football playoff. They could be the
Yeah,
first three-loss team to make it in as an at-large bid, which is crazy to say, even though I hate Bama. They shouldn't be in it. But other than that, the A&M Texas game, um, and then obviously we have Kansas State, Iowa State.
Mhm.
That'll play a major factor into what goes on for the college football playoff seeding for that last seed and the last conference championship spot. But I don't think sitting here, 10 weeks ago talking about the college football playoff, I don't think we would have realized that there is an actual chance that Tulane could get in over a Big 12 team.
I agree. I agree, man. Shout out Tulane. I'm trying to think of some notable players, like past players from Tulane,
Um,
and I'm gonna blank right now because I'm on the spot. That's fun. Let's just we'll do like 3 seconds of blank, and you somebody in the comment section say what team, like what player from Tulane. Ready?
okay.
Yeah. That was a great Tulane player. Okay. Anyway, moving moving on.
Oh,
We're trying to get some interaction with our fans. You know what I mean?
yeah. So if you guys know of good Tulane players, NBA or NFL, just drop them down
I'm
below.
I'm looking it up because this is gonna. I know there's people I'm just not thinking of.
Um,
Yeah, there's some people here. All politicians.
Matt Forte
Okay, shout out Matt Forte.
played for the Bears. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, no.
Wow, this is
I don't know who you are, but Eddie Murray, kicker.
I thought you said Eddie Murphy. I'm like, what? You don't know who Eddie Murphy is?
I don't want to bring this guy up because for all my Steelers fans out there, if you watched during the time period, he was a thorn in your side. But Bubby Brister did
Mm.
come from Tulane. Um, yeah, there are some players here, but I don't know a lot of them. I'm gonna be
Jim
honest.
Boyle, Bobby Brown.
Patrick Ramsey, quarterback.
Yeah.
Wonder if he's related to Jalen Ramsey.
I'm sure. I'm so sure about it.
I think you never know. But no, there's probably Darnell Mooney.
Okay, Tajay
Darnell
Spears,
Mooney. There we go.
running back. Here we go.
There we go. We got a couple of them.
Cairo Santos. That's good enough. We can stop there.
But yeah, if you guys know any Tulane players that are prevalent or that you guys have a story about, just drop it down below. We'll get around to reading it, and we love interacting with the people.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Are you finished with your report?
Um, Notre Dame should join a conference. They should be out of the top 15. Miami, with that loss to Georgia Tech, is looking a little bit better, but should be going somewhere like a road game for the college football playoff. Bama shouldn't even be in consideration. Um, yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, before we get into the last part of our episode, you're going to hear word from our partner, Roll Tide. I am proud to announce we are partnered with Dubby Energy Drink.
Dubby was formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or crash, all while tasting amazing.
If you go to the link in the description, it will take you to our sponsored flavor, Push and Punch.
Use code TIMEOUTJG, that is TIMEOUTJG, at checkout for 10% off your order.
Thank you to Dubby Energy for partnering with us, and back to the episode. Oh, man. Okay. Now that we're back from that partner look, and Levi's mad at me for saying Roll Tide as a joke, because it is Thanksgiving, it is obviously the holiday of being thankful for the things you have, for whatever, just being a thankful person. So I told Levi, I'm like, hey, just bring a couple things, sports related, non sports related, that you're thankful for. And I figured we just get to talk about it a little bit. Maybe this will be a chance for you guys to kind of get to know us a little bit more because we don't really talk about ourselves much on this podcast. It's just pretty much like our take on sports. So this could be time for us to kind of just hang out and chill for like a little bit, and you guys can kind of know about it. So is there anything you want to start with?
Um, I'm thankful for my family and my friends,
Hmm. Hmm.
for being as close as they are and everything that they do for me and just being there for me. Through good times, through bad, is I'm thankful for them.
Yeah.
Especially the people that I consider, like my inner circle, like my
Hmm.
best friends, my close friends. Shout out to them. My mom, my dad, my sister, even though she's a pain in my ass half the time.
Yeah.
But
So
but
siblings
no,
are right.
yep, I love them all, and I'm just thankful to have them in my life.
Oh no, 100%. And yeah, that was one of my ones. I just want to kind of thank all my friends because you guys have been super super close to me. Even my editor, I we've never met each other, but like we've talked online, and he's been a really cool guy. And he's really helped me through my personal like YouTube journey. And so that's been really really cool. But yeah, no, like as you know, like I went through a really really rough breakup beginning of the year, and things were looking pretty bad for me. And without you guys being around and just hanging out and talking, I don't know where I'd be at this point in time, honestly. I really, really don't. So, yeah, then my family, I don't, at this point in time in my life, I don't really have a lot of family left, but the ones I do have, I'm really, really close to them, and I try to see them as much as I possibly can because it's really good to see your family. You know what I mean? You don't know how long they're going to be around, especially your older ones, so get out there and, see them, even if sometimes it can be like, hey, it's a 45-minute drive. You don't really want to take the drive, but, you got to do what you got to do to see them every once in a while. So, yeah, no, thankful for your friends, your family, anybody that's watching this podcast or my channel. I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to me ramble on about absolutely nothing for an hour on my 2K rebuilds or my Boulder Skate series or you and I playing Sniper Elite. They're just listening to us talk shit the entire time. So I
Yep.
appreciate anybody that's reacted, either positive. Some people have reacted negatively. It's fine. You know what I mean? Because when people have negative comments, I see what they say. If it's something valuable, I listen to it and I change it. If it's something just stupid, I can laugh at it and that's the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, half the time when someone comments something like that, I usually am in there. I'm going at them.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even need to respond. Levi's on the tail
Yeah.
for me.
Yep.
um, anything like sports related you want to talk about that you're kind of thankful for?
I'm thankful that the Brooklyn Nets were dumb enough to trade multiple first round picks for Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce,
Yeah.
and that whole trade. I'm grateful for that because that got us a championship with one of the worst playoff head coaches of all time. um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but no, I'm just thankful that I'm thankful that the sports teams that I root for, specifically like my Boston Celtics, have been able to have success recently.
Mhm.
And that's been exciting to watch. I know everyone is just like, oh, the Mickey Mouse championship, but we won it.
I Tell me about
And yeah,
it.
yeah, but no, I'm just thankful that they were able to capture that success, make the trades, and we're still looking good for the next year or two. Hopefully, we can capture at least one more championship before this is all said and done.
Yeah, man, I'm thankful for the 2019 New Orleans Pelicans. Um, without them, without Anthony Davis or Western trade and Lakers trade for Anthony Davis, we would have never won a championship in LeBron era. Like it wouldn't have happened. And we haven't been back since. But I think this year was our best chance. We've been to the conference finals once again since then. And Anthony Davis is an MVP candidate right now. And he makes Lakers basketball fun because LeBron at 40 years old should not be doing all this that he is. So we got a lot of great rookies on our team. Well, one great rookie on our team, but we have a lot of younger players that are kind of getting a role figured out. So you know, it's been a lot of fun. But something I'm not thankful for
What?
is League Pass, bro. League Pass is a pain in my ass. It's a great thing. It's a great idea because I can like sit here and watch all these teams. I pay my subscription and I get to watch every team, except I can't watch the Wizards or the 76ers because they're technically our local teams. But then even when they're away, I'm still blacked out. I can't watch them. Like I've watched barely any 76ers games, which is a blessing, honestly, this season. And well, same with the
Yeah.
Wizards. I haven't watched really much Wizards either.
Yeah, I think
There are two local teams right now are awful. So it's been kind of I haven't had to deal with it. But it's like I'm paying the money. Why? Like it's like you have to go get cable if you want to watch the 76ers or the Wizards or for games on national television. If there's one good, if like nights like last night where there's like one good game and only like 5 games being played, it's gonna be on national television, and then I can't watch it anyway. So it's just like if I'm paying to watch these games, I should be able to watch these games.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But also I did see a trade circling around that it came from like media sources.
Okay.
I believe the trade was D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, um, I want to say Jared Vanderbilt, but I'm not 100% sure on the third player.
Mm.
A 2029 first round pick, a
Mm.
2031 first round pick,
Mm.
and a 2030 pick swap for Trae Young.
Do we get another body in that? I feel like we need another body in that.
I think for the I think you do get one, but I don't know the trade off the top of my head. I know that was kind of like the big piece. I know Rui, D'Lo, and there was 3 picks on the Lakers side at least.
Hmm.
And then the only name that I could really bring up was Trae Young. I think there was another one, but I'm not 100% sure. But if they could get that trade done, what do you think?
Um, I mean, obviously Trae Young would be an upgrade. I don't want to. First things first, Trae Young would be a massive upgrade from what we get from D'Lo, Rui Hachimura, and Jared Vanderbilt if he's the person that trade because we haven't seen Jared Vanderbilt in almost a year now. I just don't know. I don't think it makes us. Well, I don't say it doesn't make us better, but I don't think it like gets us to that next level where we're like championship favorites. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
when you're trading for a guy like Trae Young, you're hoping that takes you to that level. You know what I mean? And he helps our 3-point shooting, 100%. But we've also seen in the past with DeJounte Murray there, Trae Young off the ball isn't nearly as effective as he is with the ball. And when you have Anthony Davis and LeBron James, Trae Young's not going to have the balls nearly as much as he does in Atlanta. Like he even struggled with DeJounte Murray there. Now he's got LeBron and AD. You know what I mean? Like he's just not going to have the ball nearly as much. And he's one of the best playmakers in the league. Hard to do that when you don't have the ball in your hands. He's one of the best shooters in the league. He could be a spot up shooter, but it's like he's going to want to do stuff off the ball. And our perimeter defense is really, really bad. And Trae Young does not help with that at all.
The only thing I can say about him just standing around, he's off ball, is could it just be the scheme and the coach, and coming to LA it would be more of a different thing because we all know JJ Redick loves to run his shooters off of screens and keep stuff moving at most times when he's not, feeding AD down low, who by the way, MVP, Depoy. Or honest, my Depoy has changed,
Mm-hmm.
but my MVP is still Anthony Davis. Depoy, shout out Dyson Daniels.
No, because he's had like 3 different head coaches in Atlanta. Like he's going through. It's not like this is just a thing. And I mean, they even on the other side, like they brought in Quinn Snyder, who is known for being a defensive minded head coach. Like when he was in Utah with like Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell's team, and he's still not very good defensively, even in a full defensive scheme. Like I just think, unfortunately, I think he's just too small to be a good defender. Like I just don't. He's a shorter, smaller frame guy, and like again, I just think that's gonna be our biggest downfall is not really being able to guard people on the perimeter because Anthony Davis is a defensive monster inside. LeBron, again, he's like almost 40, so we're not really you can't really expect a lot out of him. And then other than that, we don't really have perimeter defenders, and it's just like I get what you're saying about the shooting thing, and maybe that makes it better, but I just every stop we've seen Trae Young, he's had the ball in his hand. You know what I mean? And the small times we've seen without the ball in his hand, it doesn't look nearly as good or nearly as effective as it does with the ball in his hand. I just like Trae Young's a great player, but I just don't think this version of the Lakers we are right now, he doesn't fit what we need at all.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know who. Like, we're in a weird spot because we need shooting, we need defense, but it's oh sorry, I just got a breaking news thing from ESPN. I'll talk about it in a second. Um, but yeah, no, I don't really know who we're really looking for right now. We're definitely making a trade. D'Lo, probably Jared Vanderbilt's contract, and probably Rui are not going to be on the team after the trade deadline. I just don't know who. That's the problem. I just
Yeah.
don't. I don't really know who's available to what we are going to get.
You know, I think especially with their contracts expiring, I think if you're the Lakers organization, you want to get something back for them because it's
Mm-hmm.
obvious. I don't think they're going to bring back Rui. They're not going to bring back D'Lo.
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt is, I think, still up in the air in my opinion, but he's probably already 1 foot out the door.
No, Jared Vanderbilt is going to be there as long as he wants to because his contract. He is still has years on his contract.
Okay, but no. Then Rui and D'Lo. I don't know who they talk to. I don't know who they go to try and get possibly, but they if they're not going to re-sign him, they got to get some value for him right now or as
Mm-hmm.
soon as possible. Um, but also shout out to the Kings. They're getting Jay Crowder. If that
Yeah.
moves the pendulum at all for them, but
Yeah, no, Jared Vanderbilt still got 3 years on his contract, I'm pretty sure. So he's going to be around for a while. He's also, like, I didn't realize he's only 25
yeah,
because
he's young as shit.
he got drafted in 2018. So like, I don't. How was he? What 19 when he came? He had to have been like 19 when he came in. Because I mean, it's been
Uh,
7 years and he's 25 now, and it definitely wasn't 18. I don't believe. Um, where? Yeah,
he said he was drafted in 18.
yeah. He was born in
Five.
1999. He just turned it's April 3rd, 1999. So he had just turned 19 like 2 months before the draft.
Okay.
So crazy because like I said, I remember him back in Minnesota. Like it's been like 3-4 years he was in Minnesota where he really kind of broke out to be really good. And I guess I just in my head imagine he was like 28, 29 because he's been in the league for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Vanderbilt would come back and be fully healthy. I think it would rejuvenate the team, especially defensively, because Vanderbilt is a versatile defender. And
Mm-hmm.
I think at that point, if you can trade for Trae Young and Vanderbilt comes back fully healthy, then you have your perimeter defending. And like
It's just one.
that,
The problem is it's just one guy. Like Jared
yeah,
Vanderbilt's just one guy. Like that doesn't solve our problem at all. Like it helps, but then again, it's like when the hell is Jared Vanderbilt going to come back? Like we don't know.
yeah,
So it's like I don't want to bank on that. The I don't even know if the Hawks want to trade Trae Young. Like you know what I mean? That like if they don't want to trade Trae Young, they're not going to take D'Lo, Rui, and a couple picks if they don't even want to trade Trae Young. You know what I mean?
yeah. But we don't know what's going on within
Yeah.
the organization of the Hawks. Obviously, I think Trae Young wants to stay there,
Mm.
but it come to a point to where Trae Young could be like, "Yo, we made one Eastern Conference Finals appearance. You guys have not done much of anything to get pieces in here to help me win. What are we
Yeah.
doing here?"
Also, we need to shout out Cam Thomas because he's going to be out for the next 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. He's been really, really good. Uh, he's been good for what the team is. To start, they've had some good wins. They've had some close games, and it's. I think it makes sense. Obviously, like his injury sucks, but I think his injury is going to be the turning point for them. Going, okay, yeah, we actually don't want to be that good this season. This is going to be our time to like, okay, Cam Thomas is hurt. He's going to be out for probably about a month. Then we're going to trade Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith at the trade deadline, and then we're going to be bad the second half. And maybe even Dennis Schroeder gets traded the way he's playing. Maybe a team wants him for a run. You know what I mean? So they've been fun to watch to start the season. They're I mean, what is their record right now? I mean, they're under 500 for sure. They're 8-10 though, which is I think they were projected to have like 15 or 16 wins the entire season before the year started. So they've already got half of that, and it's only been 18 games. Like they've been a lot of fun, but they're not any. This team is not ready to be in the playoffs at all. So it was only a matter of time before they like pulled the rug out and was like, okay, we're actually tanking. And I think, like I said, I just think this Cam Thomas injury is going to be like the catalyst or the starter to that tank job coming out.
Yeah, completely agree with you 100%. And also, shout out to Grant Williams. His
Oh
season
yes,
is effectively over. Tore his
yeah.
ACL, I believe in the Hornets game against the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to him. Hopefully, he has a speedy and healthy recovery, and we can see him back next year.
That's right. Yeah. Anything else you really want to talk about?
Um, I'm gonna say it again. Notre Dame join a fucking conference. I try not to cuss, but Notre Dame joined a conference, not the 1960s.
Yeah.
Um, Indiana is not as good as everyone says they are. Miami shouldn't be in the college football playoff. Bama shouldn't even be in the top 20, in my opinion. But teams losing it is what it is. Ashton Genty for Heisman, and the fact that Dylan Sampson isn't up for running back of the year is criminal. They need to go check themselves.
I agree. Now, before we get out of here, there's one more thing we have to do because we usually do our TikToks. But as this comes out on Thanksgiving Day, we're gonna have a schedule of 3 games. Now, because the first game starts at 12:30 tomorrow, we might release this at probably 12 instead of 3. That way we can gotta catch it before the
Yeah,
games start. That'd be a smarter thing to do. As soon as you see this around noon, um, we're gonna have Levi go ahead and predict the 3 Thanksgiving Day games. And yeah, are you ready?
I'm ready.
12:30 Bears at Lions.
This is tough. People think the Lions are going to come in and just stomp the Bears out, but I think this is a turning game for the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bears win this, and it kind of lights a fire under their butts to finish the season strong.
When was the last time the Lions won on Thanksgiving? They usually lose every year on Thanksgiving. I'm looking it up right now. The
I'm
Lions.
not sure.
When was the last time the Lions went on Thanksgiving? Um,
Yeah, I don't know.
2016. They beat the Vikings in 2016. So it's been 8 years since they've won on Thanksgiving, and they're a team that's usually bad. So it's probably been a lot longer than that since their victory before that. So Lions and Thanksgiving Day games usually just don't go together. I will ride with you, and I will go the Bears as well.
Hell yeah.
Next is the Giants at Cowboys. This is going to be perfect game. It's 4:30. You people were eating dinner, just got done eating dinner. You can take a nap through this game because both these teams are injured and suck.
Yeah, this is this is kind of like when was it the Giants versus Panthers?
Oh
That was
yeah,
over in Germany. This
yeah.
is, in my opinion, it's not as bad, but it's kind of the equivalent to it. I mean, in
For the
theory,
Thanksgiving games, yeah.
yeah, for in theory, beforehand, this was kind of a good game. You know, Daniel Jones kind of on like a quote unquote revenge tour because everyone was saying, Saquon made the offense, which I mean, we've kind of seen is true.
Yeah.
And obviously Dallas, who a lot of us predicted to be at the top of the NFC North and potentially win it,
East.
or East, sorry, East. But no, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys because I just don't think the Giants are any good, especially with having Drew Lock as a starter. But we've seen Drew Lock do some interesting things in the past with
Mm-hmm.
the Seattle Seahawks. But no, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys to win.
I'm gonna
And
go
shout
with
out
it
Cooper
with
Rush.
yeah. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys as well. Yeah, Cooper Rush outplayed Jaden Daniels last week, which was that game. That game, we could have had a whole episode on the last 5 minutes of that game. Like just between the big touch, like Dallas gets a big kick return touchdown by Turpin. Then then they give up an 86-yard touchdown to Terry McLaurin, which was just like my mouth dropped when that happened. I'm like, how? He ran through like six Cowboys defenders because they were all so worried about protecting the sideline for him not to get out of bounds that they just didn't tackle him. They were like, oh, like don't let him get out of bounds, don't let him get out of bounds. And Terry McLaurin just ran right up the whole right side of the field. Then for Olsen Seibert to miss the extra point, the Dallas stay up by one, so they go for the onside kick for then I don't know how to pronounce his first Junuana. I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Follow him on Twitter though. He's a hilarious guy. But Thomas, one of our backup safeties, picks up the onside kick and because they kicked it down. They did what you wanted to do. They kicked it down and they got around it quick. But Thomas like jumped in, grabbed the ball, and just broke through everybody right up through the middle. Returned it for a touch. Like it was a crazy game. And unfortunately for the Cowboys, and I say this unfortunately, they could win a lot of games coming up soon. And again, because like we're not going to be anywhere in the playoffs this year. But let me just let me see here. Our next coming schedule is the Giants tomorrow on Thanksgiving or today as you're watching this. Then we go on Monday Night Football and play the Bengals, who are just not a very good team either this year. Then we go to Carolina to play the Panthers. Then we're at home against the Buccaneers, which could be a tough game, and then Eagles and Commanders to finish out the season. There's a possibility this team's going to end up with 7 wins and be outside the top 10, but not good enough for the playoffs. Like it's just unfortunately how it might go, which is annoying, which is very very annoying.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see a possibility of that happening. And I can understand why it would be annoying for your team to kind of want or need, like a top X pick, top
Mm-hmm.
five, top 10 pick, to possibly take, like Travis Hunter, bring him to Dallas or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. But just like the scheduling, like usually everyone's like, oh, your back half when it's easy is great, but in this scenario,
Yeah, it's not
I,
good for us.
no, it's not. No, it is not.
And
But
it's gonna feed into the idea that some Cowboys fans are delusional and think that Cooper Rush should be the full time starter over Dak. And them winning games with Cooper Rush is just gonna feed into that ideology. And I hate that so much.
if you think Cooper Rush should be starting over Dak Prescott, you need to check yourself into a mental asylum.
I agree. I want to know what the fuck's going on with Trey Lance. Why is he not playing in these games? We traded a fourth
Jerry
rounder for him last year. Why is he not playing?
Jerry Jones doesn't want him to play.
Literally, he said that he wants the experience of Cooper Rush. He's played like 8 games. What experience? Like whatever. I'm not getting to the Cowboys.
Um,
So
but
yeah, we both picked the Cowboys in that game, right?
one more thing to move on before we move on.
Hmm.
I think Jaden Daniels in Washington is kind of falling into the same kind of arc that a lot of rookie quarterbacks or great rookie players end up doing is for like the first 7, 8, 9 games, playing phenomenal. Teams are not expecting what to
Mm-hmm.
do. You know what I mean? They're not expecting what this player is going to come out and do. And then as we get to, week 12, like 11, 12, 13, 14, that's when teams have a lot of film and they can say, okay, well, he does this, 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 and this. Let's shift this coverage over here, bring in a QB spy over here, stunt the defense this way, force him out of the pocket. If you're a right-handed quarterback, force him out to the left and make him make that tough throw, with our defensive backs. And I feel like more defensive coordinators and defenses are getting film and are better preparing for Jane Daniels.
Yeah, they've lost 3 in a row now. They started off the season super hot, and I think it's just like I said, it's a rookie wall that I think he hit. Jane Daniels has still been pretty good in their games that they've lost. Like he hasn't been as good as he was to start the season, but like I think he's gonna be good. I think they'll be fine. I just think they got off to such a hot start. They are playing a lot better than what they are as a team. So I think they're just kind of starting to hit reality now. It's like, okay, maybe this team is definitely gonna be good in the future here soon, but they're just not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Okay, last game of the day is gonna be the Dolphins at the Packers.
I'm gonna go. Where's this being played?
Green
At
Bay.
Green Bay.
Lambeau, baby.
I'm gonna have to go with the Packers. Normally,
Okay.
I would go with Miami, especially when Tua just came off the game he had.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Waddle had, I believe, over 100 yards and a touchdown. Normally, I'd go with Miami, but there's that stigma about Miami is they cannot play in cold conditions, and I believe Lambeau, it's gonna be cold.
Mm-hmm. You know what?
And the,
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go against it. I'm gonna go for Dolphins. I think this is the game they break that stigma. I do want to see. I want to see if I could find the kickoff temperature. But yeah, I'm gonna go green. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Green Bay.
I'm trying to see if I can Dolphins Packers kick off temperature. It's gonna be cold. How cold would
Should
it
be.
be for the Packers and Dolphins on Thanksgiving? Um, it will be cold. Okay, well, it will be about 28 degrees with a wind chill of 18, with a few possibly flurries. So
I'm
it's gonna
going
be
with Green
cold.
Bay. I'm
It
going with
gonna be
Green Bay.
man. Tyreek Hill's gonna show you boys, but you can't forget who he is. People are starting to forget this season because he hasn't been as good because Tua's been out. He's still one of the best receivers in the league.
Hey, Jalen Waddle. I picked him
Mm-hmm.
off of the waiver wire in fantasy
Mm-hmm.
because he was doing as bad as he was, and last week he helped me win a lackluster performance by my team. But
Yeah,
hey, I'm in the hunt for that 1 seed.
that's right. Well, will that do it for this week's episode?
Yes, it will.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week, and we hope you have a happy Thanksgiving.